Welcome to Strategy with Sally. Today's topic is all about objections. Who gets them and is not quite sure what to say or do? Well, we're going to cover that today, but also what the 5 main objections are. And when you start practicing this, it's a theory, it's a practice really of how to overcome objections the right way, you won't feel salesy, sleazy, icky, or gross. You will just be able to do it in an authentic way that will help your people, because they wouldn't have booked the appointment if they weren't already struggling. Usually the biggest thing that's holding them back is them. So when you're doing it to serve your people, you will be able to actually have people saying yes because they want to, because it's not about getting the sale. It's about helping and serving. So for those out there who have not yet met me, hi, I'm Sally. I am the founder of the Sparkle Class Academy and the creator of the Freedom Funnel Formula. I am your in-house automation nerd and lover of sexy numbers. I like to plug holes and save people time with automation. Today we're talking about objections. And I can tell you, look, I've done a lot of sales training over the years, and I had this moment where I was constantly trying to get the sale, right? I wanted the sale because I really wanted the money. And it was really uncomfortable. You feel salesy and icky and sleazy and gross. And you really you wish it was just so much easier, right? And see, over the last 8 years, I've actually been able to get better at selling through a lot of repetition, a lot of immersion in getting in and learning what sales actually is, and modeling proven practices that I've learned through numerous sales coaches. And I am still continuously improving and refining this every single day. Because once you learn how to overcome objections and, you can say things in a way that is literally authentic so that you are serving that dream client. So I'm going to head over to my whiteboard and I'm going to talk to you about the spectrum of the way in which we ask first, like to get the sale. So over here on the whiteboard, you see what we have, it's kind of like these guide rails, right? And over here, you could be like a little passive in your selling. Right? So when you're passive in selling, what you're doing is you're like, I have this thing, and you're a bit scared to even say the price of the thing. You're very passive in the way in which you approach selling. If somebody says they don't have the time, you're like, okay, sure, that's no worries. I don't have the money, sure, yeah, no worries. You're just agreeable because you're scared and you're fearful, so you're too passive. It's like the 3 bears where you've got, one's too hot, one's too cold, and one is just right. That's kind of where we're going with this. This is a little cold, right? It's too cold. You're just too scared to say anything. Then you've got the other end of the spectrum, which you're scared to be, right? Which is too aggressive. Like, if you don't buy this thing, literally, you could be hurting your family. I worked, and this was bad sales training. I worked in a company where we were told we had to sell these, it was literally pots and pans, okay? But it was called Your House Nutrition System. And it was, you would turn on the gas, and then the pot would seal. Once it hit a certain temperature, you would turn off the gas and it would continue to cook within itself without getting to 100 degrees. It was less than that, so it wasn't killing the nutrients in the food. And the people that taught me the sales training said, things like, if they say no to that, then you can say, well, don't you care about the health of your children? And I'm like, that is way too aggressive for me. Like, I am 100% sure they care about their children. That is something I would not say, right? And then they would throw in all these extra bonuses that we had to give away anyway. And we would have to make fake phone calls to the office and pretend that we're wheeling and dealing to get some cutlery thrown in and some plates and some crystal glasses. And I just felt gross, too pushy, lying, and it just was horrible. So that's the other end of the spectrum when it comes to selling, right? You've got too passive, where you're too scared to say anything and you're just very agreeable. And then the other end where you're that car salesman. So what you want to do for yourself is find the happy, just right middle ground for you. Okay, so you got too pushy, right? And then right here in the middle is your happy place. Now, everybody has a different happy place. So people know me for kind of saying it how it is. So I might say something along the lines of, when somebody throws an objection at me, can I be totally honest with you? Do you feel that that is an excuse, or is it actually real? If it's said in the right context, I'm actually trying to get people to admit that they're actually holding themselves back, right? So you need to find where your happy place is on this spectrum. But I don't want you to be too passive or too pushy. Where do you think you currently are on the spectrum? Let me know in the chat, right? So let me talk to you about the actual 5 reasons why people, and it comes up consistently. There's only 5 main objections that are brought up by people. So one of them, I'll put the letters down for you, right? So we have this letter, it's this one. See if you can guess what any of these might be. Okay, so these are the main reasons for objections. There is only really 5, and over the last 8 years about learning how to do this well, I've really decided it just comes down to these 5 things. And these 5 things, what do you think the letter T is? The very first objection, and also the most common one that you will get. Yes, that's right, time. So now let's think about, what do you think that the second one might be? What do you think that is? It's the second most common one that we hear over and over and over again. Yes, money. Money and time. These are the 2 biggest objections. And you see, the people with the most money will usually throw that their biggest objection is time. And those with the least amount of time will throw the objection that it's money. You know, they have the time, but they don't have the money, or they have the money, but they don't have the time. So these 2 at the top can actually be reversed depending on your particular audience. So what do you think the third one is? Now, this one goes a little deeper and can sometimes be a little harder to speak about. Yes, spouse. So this one, and this can say, you know, your significant other or even your business partner. They're both the same, but, you know, now what about the next one? The fourth one. What do you believe the F stands for? Yes, fear. That's right, fear. And then the last one, and I've put these two together, is shame and self-doubt. Because shame, when you've got shame, when it also relates to self-doubt, because shame breeds self-doubt, right? So if we look at this, we actually look at it in this direction, okay? This is the easiest objection for somebody to give you. This is the next. We go a little deeper here. So, for example, I don't have the time to do it, because the easiest thing for people to talk about is they don't actually have the time, meaning that it's an easy out if they say that they don't have the time. And that was not on the screen, so I'll do my arrow over here. So I wish that I could. I would like to do it, but I don't have the time. And it can be really frustrating, right? When you're talking to your ideal client, your dream client, your dot client, you'll literally see people like, oh, yes, I need that. Oh, yes, I'm in. Oh, that's really what I want. It's so great. Oh, this would be really good. This is the thing that I need. And then you say, okay, so let's spend a year together. And they're like, oh, I wish I could, but I just don't have the time right now. Who agrees, right? You hear that a lot. So this is the thing. You have to be prepared for that. So how can you actually get them to commit? So they need to commit over the convenience. And what is that return on not just money, but also the return on the investment in time? What is the cost of the actual inaction, both in money or in wasted time? And you have to be willing to talk about this with people. And the easiest way to establish how to speak to somebody about this is actually on a continuum here, on a spectrum, you could say. You see, if somebody says they don't have time, then you can't just say, oh, sure, and just leave it at that. You need to actually absolutely make sure that it is time. And the most effective way of doing this is saying, oh, that's interesting. And there's 3 magical words that you will say. What do you think they are? Most of the Sparkle world should know, or inside of our community. Tell me more. They should say, tell me more. Tell me more about time. What time do you have and don't you have? Because I want you to be confident in discussing these objections, both you and your team. These 3 simple words, tell me more, will actually help you get to the question behind the question, the answer. Because if, for example, if somebody's down here, right, they're down here and they're saying, I don't have the time because I've got 3 kids, an aging parent, I work full time just to pay the bills, and, I've got a sick person in hospital, versus somebody over here that says, I just don't have the time. It means that I would have to do this after I put the kids to bed, or I would have to do it and skip book club on Friday, or maybe I won't be able to go to tennis on Saturday. You see, these are all time objections, but they are completely at different ends of the spectrum. So are you following me right now? Can you see how we can get behind the question? Exactly. I'm seeing lots of head nods. Fabulous. Because this is a really important concept right here. Because so often I see people just say, oh, I don't have the time. And then people go, oh, okay. So if they don't have the time, you need to find out, how many hours a week are they willing to commit to it? Can it be done? Can it be put into this spectrum? Are they I've got an aging parent, family members who are sick, or I have to miss out on tennis on the weekend. So how big is the issue of time for them? So when you use the tell me more, right? Tell me more, then they'll be able to tell you more. Now, when you do this, I want you to do it with love, okay? I want you not to get the sale. I want you to remove your emotional connection to the outcome. You see, at the end of the day, we cannot force people to hand over their credit cards. But when you do this in service of to help your ideal dream client, you know that if they are over here on the spectrum, okay, you might say something like, you know what? As much as I would love to help you inside this program right now, given what you've actually told me, it would be wrong of me because, you know, right now you need to focus on you. It's most important first that you take care of yourself and your children and your aging parent. And, you know, while I think that I can help you make measurable improvement in XYZ, insert the thing that you do to help them, you need to take care of yourself first. Now, when they're down here at this end, you'd say something like, okay, so let's just talk about this. Maybe for the next few months, you know, you do the work after you put the kids to bed. And maybe you do miss tennis on Saturday just for the next few months. But then when we get off of all the things and you've learnt the systems, now you can take that vacation that you've always wanted. Now you can put your children into that college of the choice that you've always wanted to be able to afford to do. Or, you know, maybe it means that you get to spend extra hours in the evening with your partner when you put the kids to bed. So can you see where these questions, depending on where they are in the spectrum, you can have a meaningful conversation with love? Yeah? I'm loving the head nods. That's great. Cool. So, by the way, what I'm teaching you now, this is conversations that you can also use outside of sales, right? When you're talking to family members who say they don't have time to do the thing, right? So these are life skills I'm teaching you here on how to help people, not just in sales. So you've also probably heard me talk about money, right? The same thing is money. So we have the spectrum of money and we ask the thing, tell me more. Why? On the continuum of money. So down here we have, I'm working 3 jobs just to put a roof over my head, right? That, I'm living in my car, or an uncomfortable conversation with, most of the time the money objection is an uncomfortable conversation with my spouse, my significant other, my business partner. Or, you know, here could be, you know, I can't even put food on the table right now and I'm down at the Salvation Army just to feed my family. Or I have to move a few things around on my credit card, right? Or maybe I will, you know, dip into my super or my 401k. Or maybe I've got to get a job driving an Uber for a while. So I actually had a client who did actually start doing odd jobs around the neighborhood, helping out elderly neighbors so that they could have some extra money to enter our program. You know, so run errands, go shopping for them, things that they can't do for themselves. And that paid for the program and then allowed her to grow her business. She's no longer in our program. She's off doing amazing things, but she never had to build that thing again. So what is it worth to you? You know, what is the true money objection? Where are they on this continuum? How committed are they to getting the results? And they need to choose commitment or convenience. So you can't answer this question without actually asking the question to get behind the question, to dig deeper. Tell me more. So when you ask, tell me more, it's an open-ended question. It's not just a yes or a no. Tell me more actually invites them to explain more to you. And then you can come from a place of service and actually give really great guidance and support to them. You know, tell me more. Pick something out of what they repeat back to you to help them make an informed decision. You see, we can help them because we're coaches, right? At the end of the day, we want to help people. Like, let's be really honest. This spouse conversation, this one here, this is one of the hardest things to have when you know in your heart, in your soul, that the thing that you want help with is going to cost money. And maybe you've agreed with your partner previously that you're not going to spend any more money until you start making money. Or, you know, you promised that you wouldn't put anything else on the credit card until you got results. So it's not actually the money problem, it's the uncomfortable conversation that you've got to have that's holding you back, that's sitting on that continuum. That spouse, you know, now look, if you're down here on the continuum when it comes to spouse and you're in physical danger, if you were to ask, and I'm not trivial, I'm not making light of, I can't even say the word, I'm not making light of this. That's totally different from the kind of conversation that you would have down here of, you know, maybe I do need to invest in some help. So I want you to take a second and think about, actually, I'm going to model something for you. This is totally, I want you to be fully equipped to have a conversation if you're ever considering doing something that your heart is telling you that you want to do, so that you're equipped to have this conversation. Now, normally, this is probably what the conversation sounds like, right? And no judgment here, but I want you to see how it actually works. So you go to your partner and you want to have this conversation. It sounds something like this, like so darling, do you have a couple of seconds? Oh, look, you know, I know you're super busy, but I just want to talk to you about one thing. Okay, yep. I know. Okay, well, you know, you see, I've just done this training and this event, right? And, well, yeah, I know I said that I wouldn't, but, yeah, I know, but I do appreciate that you've been looking after the children for the last few nights for me, but, you know, there's this one thing that I really want, and, like, yes, I know, right? Well, yeah, well, tonight I will, I promise. Yeah, I promise I'll cook dinner tonight. Yeah, I got it. I know what you're talking about. I know I said that I wouldn't, and yeah, I know I did that. Well, remember the time I spent that money on the thing and I didn't do it? Well, for me now, I know that I know. Okay, yep. All right, yep, I'll do it when I make money. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, right. Okay, thank you. Who's been there? Right? You just want to ask, but what you're doing, you've recognized that conversation. I'm saying, yes, I've recognized that's me. Now, look, that was me. This is why I know. The only reason that I can model it is because I've had that conversation. I ended in therapy, wanting more and feeling guilty. Now, that's because I was asking for permission from my partner for something that I knew in my heart that I really wanted. But I'm here to tell you, this is like level 5, like life skills right now. You have to approach this conversation with your partner both with love, conviction, and also integrity. Not to manipulate somebody, but to come from your heart space, right? These conversations, whether it's about buying a program that you want, whether it's about going on a trip with your girlfriends, you need to do this in service truly of your dream client, right? Because it's not to sell or manipulate your partner. You cannot give permission or get permission from anybody. You can only give yourself permission. Nobody gives you permission to do what you want to do, but you can ask for support. So here's how the conversation should go. You can start by saying how much you appreciate them and everything that they've done for you. For example, I really appreciate that you've been taking care of the kids for the last few days while I've attended this event. And you know, you've seen me so often complaining at the dinner table about the business and me saying that if it doesn't work, I'm going to quit. And to be really honest with you, over the last few days, I've realized that I've been turning to you as my business coach. And honestly, you're not a business owner. And I shouldn't be expecting you to solve my problems, which is kind of crazy, right? You're not an entrepreneur. You're not a coach. So how do you know how to solve that? So first off, I'm going to apologize for putting you in that uncomfortable position. But the good news is I've actually met a group of people that have figured out a system and a process, and they've actually figured out a way in which they can help me. I don't want to go ahead and reinvent the wheel. It just takes so much time, and you've seen me, I keep getting stuck. And, you know, I know that I need to make money, but I keep getting stuck in this downward spiral. You know what it looks like because you don't want to see me there either. And to be totally honest, of course you don't know what to do. And if I want to be truly honest, owning a business can be hard, or insert the thing that you're struggling with can be hard, right? But you know one thing? Building a business is something that I just don't know how to do. Or building a live event, or building whatever it is, or getting the help you need for whatever it is. It's so much harder than I ever imagined. So here's the thing that's recently dawned on me. You would never go and hire an attorney who had never gone to law school, or you would never go to an attorney and say, hey, I have this incredibly boring legal issue for us. Can you fix it? If they've never studied how to be a lawyer. Or you wouldn't go to a doctor who's never been to medical school and say, hey, do heart surgery on me. So if I keep going to people who are not experienced in that, I'm going to keep getting the same results. And to be totally honest with you, the thing that I'm good at is what I'm good at. And I've been expecting myself to actually be good at building a business. And that's kind of crazy, right? I'm making it so much harder, not just for myself, but for you and for the kids, for what I really want. But what I really want is a system and a strategy, right? I want that thing. So what I've realized is I need support from a professional. I mean, I know I need to be surrounded by like-minded people. And it's not that I don't love you and I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going to bring you with me. But how I'm going to be able to save time, make money, and give more freedom to our family is to do this thing so I can get back dinners that aren't about business. We can have those vacations. We can have more money and freedom. And if you support me in this, I promise you will see a different me. I want to be more positive. I want to actually make our dinners not about business. I want to carve out time for the kids. And I know it may sound too good to be true, but I've met people who are doing this. And I really believe I can. So I'm going to commit to you and thank you if you will support me in this. And let's pick something to celebrate when I achieve this goal. So let's decide on that celebration and then ask them to pick something with you. Maybe it's dinner out, it's a vacation, it's every Saturday you get to take the kids and they go off and get to play golf. Whatever that looks like for you. And then whatever you say, mean it. Okay, you need to follow through. Bring them along with them. Tell them the actions as you do the things and the results that you're getting. Celebrate with them and honor the celebration alongside of them. And if you're borrowing money, then borrow the money, but tell them that you're going to pay it back, even with interest. I know you're my spouse. You will say something like, I know you're my spouse and I get it and it means so much to me. And you supporting me, I want to see this as a bank loan and I'm going to pay it back with interest. You see, in any of these conversations that you have, these uncomfortable conversations, whether it's about purchasing a product, joining the gym, joining a club, whatever you want to spend your money on, the person who wins the debate is the person with the most authority and the one with the most certainty. The person who shows up and is truly believing in what they're saying. And by the way, again, what I'm teaching you here is life lessons. You can have this conversation with a child, with a team member. You see, the art of enrolling people in the thing that you want is you need to enroll yourself first. Actually, I wasn't going to show this, but I'll show you this. So, the art of enrollment is first, you need to believe that you can. Then the next one is your inner circle. So your partner, your family, those people closest to you. Then your team. And then your ideal dream client. And it works in this direction. You see, if you don't believe you can, then you cannot tell your parent, your family, your partner, that you're going to and how you will achieve it. Then you can't tell your team that you will. And then how can you convince your ideal client that you're going to be able to? So this is how you need to. I know I can. I will. We will. Let me show you how. This is the art of enrollment. This way. I will do this. I can do this. We will do this. And then let me show you how. That is how we can sell, because you need to believe in your product. You need to believe in your choices. And then your family will believe in you, your team will support you, and your ideal client will go, yes, she will show me how. Fear is the next one. Fear of success, fear of trying, fear that you may fail. Now, fear comes from a place of 1, scarcity, fixed mindset, or you have failed before. And that fear, then, if you failed before, you feel shame that maybe you've purchased the thing before and never followed through. Hello, course junkies out there, talking to you. then that shame builds self-doubt. And that brings us back down to here. You need to believe in you. I will. Let me show you I can. We will. And then let me show you how. As always, guys, never let anyone dull your sparkle. Make sure you're doing at least one income producing activity each and every day. Bye, guys.